Welcome to my channel. Here you will find out how to do mixed media art on a shoestring using recycled paper, paper bags, magazines, old books and music sheets to name just a few items. This absorbing hobby helps one to cope with stress, chronic pain, grief, whatever. Give it a try. It works. Good morning everyone from a rather cold and soggy Johannesburg, South Africa. Winter, I would say, is pretty much almost here, but nevertheless, nice and cozy in my cottage. Let's do another video. I have to confess that I have started before you folks today because I wasn't sure how long it was going to take me to actually do the one focal image. So it's a good thing I did actually, because it took me a good couple of hours to figure it out. Anyway, I just want to show off a little bit. This is the front cover of the video journal that was made on the last video. I couldn't resist just tweaking it a tad. I've just put a couple of little crown feathers on the male. Here we go. On the male bird with a gold spot in the middle of each one. But I promise not to fiddle anymore with this now. Anyway, let's start here and I'll show you what I've got. I will be making a door. The door is going to be rather beautiful. This is actually a little digital download that I made myself. I took a photo of a stick fence, we call them here. It's a pole screen, more than likely. I would say that the sticks are about an inch in diameter, maybe an inch and a half, and it's wattle poles, wattle sticks. They make a lovely screen, and if treated with creosote, they last pretty much forever. Anyway, long story short, I took a photo, messed around with it a little bit, and turned it into a background, which I got printed for me at the local Postnet, which is a kind of a delivery company that also does photostats and printouts for people, and created this little door. I have also made a door frame, which I will be attaching sometime soon. But before we do that, what I've also got, what I'm also using today is a couple of stencils. I'm going to be putting setting the door into a kind of rustic brick wall, and this is actually an interactive page because this door opens, and there will be a scene on the inside, very interesting one that I'm not going to tell you about just yet. Anyway, I will be using another stencil. I think you can see this. It's going to create a lovely textured background. So I will be using this stencil and my little favorite leaf stamp, my homemade leaf stamp. So those are most of the tools that I'm going to be using. I think we can have enough chatting now and just carry on. I will be making some kind of a fastener for this door so that it stays closed when we turn the page, because at the moment, as you will see, when oh, it's working, but it's a little bit flimsy and a bit wobbly, so I'm going to firm that up as well. Okay, so let's begin. What I'm going to start off with doing is I'm going to lift the page up, leaving the door behind. put in my little protective paper, which is becoming quite interesting now. And I'm going to start off by painting the background here, kind of a grey, which will eventually, once I've applied the stencil, will end up being the concrete in between the bricks, the stones, or whatever I end up making them look like. There we go. I've mixed up some Payne's grey, but because it tends to be a bit bluish, I've also added just a touch of burnt sienna to the grey. We don't really want it looking blue on us, but this makes rather a nice looking cement, I think. I need about 10 extra fingers to hold down various bits and pieces as I'm working here, but that's fine, we'll do it. While I'm waiting for this to dry, I just want to tell you about the door. I think that's clean enough. This is actually 3 layers. I've got the copy paper on each side of a piece of card, which is actually off a cereal box. So I'm still using junk, and I'm still working on a shoestring. So then in here, in the little window, I've actually, it's a piece of acetate, I think it's called, but what it actually is the sheet used for an overhead projector. You know, you type or put a picture on it, and when you're giving a lecture, you use the overhead projector and it pictures up on a screen. And I just happen to have some left over from approximately 30 years ago when I was preparing documents and things for doing presentations, and I actually bought my own acetate when I was getting some for the office, and yeah, there we have it. So after 30 years of storage and hoarding, I found a good use for it. So here there's going to be a scene, because my comment for this particular page is when one door closes in life, another one always opens, or something to that effect. I just can't see it right here, right now, but I'll show it to you when it pitches up again. Okay, I think this is almost dry enough. Just give it a couple more minutes. You'll notice the stencil is a little bit too small for the door, but that's not a problem because I can quite easily do it in stages. It's not a problem at all. It's quite easy to line up and reline up, etc. But I must remember, however, to put paper over the door and under the wall to protect it from splashes of paint. I started with a little bit of the burnt sienna. Pardon the noise, this glass plate is slightly unevenly placed. But I didn't want it to look quite so uniform, so I've now mixed it with a couple of splotches of the Payne's Grey and a bit of white, as well as the burnt sienna. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this first coat, and I know exactly how I've placed the stencil, and once it's dry I'm going to come and do the top section, and at the same time put another coat just to make this slightly better looking. You'll see I'm cleaning the stencil with a damp cloth. This is to take the paint, remove the paint, because look, you don't have to do it every time, but there will come a time when it will start flaking off. So rather than have that happen, I kind of like to wipe it, clean mine each time I use them. What I've done is I've made a hinge, which can't be seen, but there is a hinge in the bottom coat of copy paper, but it's tucked in underneath here. And as I said, we've got 3 layers of paper, so the hinge part is now hidden underneath this piece here, under this page, and so it can't be seen on the other side. I've deliberately done the door differently, because I kind of want to give the sensation of you know, having a door closed in your face, hitting a brick wall, kind of, almost. And then when you open it, this is now something completely different. It's totally not the same as the door was on the other side. And obviously what is going to be found in here is going to be something completely different as well. So I think that's what's going to make it quite interesting. And as I say, excuse me, got a bit of a dry cough here. Cold weather does that to my throat. But I'm going to put a little fastener of some sort here. It might even just be a couple of little buttons attached with some string or something to that effect. But I'm very excited about this page, because it's something I've had kind of the idea for some time, just not 100% sure how I was going to do it. So now I know how I'm going to do it, so I'm very excited. Going to definitely carry on. Right, now we can put on the second coat of brick here. Quite sure that's enough color now, and we've still got that bit of texture showing, which is nice, because I didn't want them to look like perfect bricks. Ah, I like it. I like it. Now let's line this up correctly. Didn't do that. I did this. There we go. I love this. You know, working with stencil, you kind of think, how are you ever going to line it up again? And somehow you always manage something. You can see I'm using acrylic markers now to add sort of textured color to the bricks. I'm using black, brown, and funnily enough, a pale pink, which just adds a little bit of interest without actually showing what it's doing. Here we go. This is now the brickwork is done. I've attached the door frame, and then what I've done is using a little bit of burnt sienna, I think it was, on my sponge. I've just aged and given the door a little bit of character. Basically 99% of this page is done, but because this is an interactive page, it actually goes through the door and onto the other side. I'm just holding this here to block this off because it's a bit distracting at the moment, but that's not part of the picture anyway. So let's open this door. The final touches to put on this front page is the comment and the door fastener. So we're going to go through the door and into something amazing when we're done with it. What's going to happen here is I'm going to start off with my trusty sponge and an awful lot of paint and get a nice background happening, and then I will start attaching other little interesting things. So here I'm putting down some paint, starting with the sap green, then the light green, and later on some Naples yellow. This is to build the interest and texture in the background. Whew, we're starting to feel the cold here in South Africa. The maximum temperature today is expected to be 14 degrees centigrade, which my friend in Scotland tells me is a pleasant summer's day where she is. We live in Johannesburg, well, on the outskirts of Johannesburg, and Johannesburg and the surrounding suburbs are actually within the largest man-made forest in the southern hemisphere. It's quite an amazing thing to see from the air, but lovely to live in. It's got the most amazing bird life and of course a super microclimate. Right, that needs to dry off now. And to dry it, in this weather in particular, I will have to use my little hairdryer. And we all know how noisy little hairdryers can be, particularly. Now we've got this lovely stencil down. I've been dying to use this one because I love doing pictures of nature, trees, flowers, that kind of thing. And this, of course, is going to help to make really cool backgrounds. I just hope I've got the sponge dry enough. I'm scared to even look because it will be too late anyway. But I hope the sponge is dry enough not to squish paint behind the stencil. It should be okay, I think. This is where I go just a little bit silent because I have to concentrate very hard to get this right, I think. I do hope everybody had a lovely Easter weekend. Ours was very quiet. We did have a tragedy I am in the family of a very close family friend. It was an absolute tragedy, but I'm not going to discuss it here. It's not my business to do so. Just say I put a dampener on what could have been quite a fun-filled weekend. Stuff happens, doesn't it? Sometimes we have absolutely no control. Okay, fingers crossed. Let's lift this up and see. Let's do this one. Last little patch here. This is an incredibly dark brown. It looks almost black when you take it out of the tube. It's called Van Dyke or Van Dyke brown. It's lovely for this kind of work. Okay, let's carefully lift this up with fingers crossed. Oh, perfect. Perfect. That will do. There is a bit of squishy, but you know what? It doesn't matter because it'll come off. So that is fabulous. That is absolutely fabulous. Let me just get my piece of scrap paper so I can wipe this off. I've had these stencils for quite some time. The newest ones I probably got this Christmas. But the family always buys me cool stuff from Temu as gifts because I've let them know that that's what I would love. And I actually have not used stencils very much because I've been just a tad afraid of them, you know, not too sure how I'll do. And so I've kind of left them alone. But doing the videos has made me exceptionally brave. And I've decided, you know, all the things that I'd love to do but haven't tried because I don't think I can, I'm doing now. And so the videos are serving a dual purpose. They're letting me pass on knowledge that I have, and at the same time allowing me to experiment and try something new from time to time, which is great. Righty-ho, this must now dry off properly so that I can move on to the next step. Now for the excuse me, the leaves that are going to be attached to our nice twig stencil. I'm using my favorite leaf stamp again, my homemade leaf stamp. This really is one of my all-time favorites. It's so easy to do and it's just so effective. I love it. This one is not going to be quite as leafy as the big tree trunk and branch that I did a little while back, but it's definitely going to be quite effective, I reckon. It's already taking shape, isn't it? This is now the sap green, which is as dark as I'm going to go with these leaves. And now let's just wipe off the dark green, and let's have some of the a light green. It's going to be slightly mixed in with the sap green, but that's fine. Just adds interest. See. I used to get quite stressed about the kind of lack of total perfection with these stamps, but I'm learning that it's actually adds to the charm and adds to the effectiveness. Let's turn this around a little way. And I think we've done enough with that. So I think I'm going to have to use the hairdryer again. So we'll do that, and then when it's dryish. No, actually, we won't do that. What I'm going to do is move on to another part of this particular page. I've been having fun. I've been cutting out bits and pieces to create the page. It's going to be very interesting, I think. Here we go. I think that's all the bits. Let's go. We'll start here. Because a lot of it is going onto the wet page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach stuff to this side, and that means that we will have less disturbance. Well, we'll have less of a delay. You see, stepping through that door is going to make quite a magical difference, is it not? Glue stick out. A little bit disorganized this morning, it would seem. My goodness, this glue stick saves an awful lot of time. You know, just being able to use something like this that's not actually a wet adhesive means so little time has to be spent with waiting for glue to dry. It's really quite a blessing, I would say. Here we go. I think we've got all the way around. And then, of course, you know, the other advantage with the glue stick is that if it does happen to let go and a little piece lifts up somewhere down the line, you can just flip it up and put the glue stick underneath it, or if that's not possible, then you just put a little wet glue behind it and it's perfect. Now you're going to see a little bit of cheating happening here because I've been learning stuff. I'll just put some paint up here, and it is almost dry, so that'll be fine. And I've got some little bits of this particular picture left, not quite enough to do the whole thing, but I can break little pieces off and attach it there. I'll show you later, and it will work like a charm. You won't even realize what's going on, because what we're doing here is we're moving into a miniature, into a world which appears to be giant, but I think it means that when we went through the door, we shrank. So let's just have a quick look here. Turn this whole page over. Yes, I was hoping to have that in the window there. So this is where this must be glued down. I'm just going to touch this down with a glue stick just in one spot here, because I think I should go to the liquid matte medium now. You know, we're using pieces of magazine papers, so yes, let's just get ourselves organized. The mushrooms I made myself. I drew them and colored them in with my acrylic markers, and then just to finish it off, I touched it up with a bit of my crayons, my colored pencils. So there we are. Oh, I love it. I love bright colors. You know, I'm not a sort of pastels, lavender and lace type person. I love vibrant colors. A little bit of a hippie. I love the oranges and bright greens and that sort of things that was so fashionable in the 70s, you know. So I always say I'm not lavender and lace, I'm more patchouli and patchwork, which I think is quite clever. So sometimes I say it a bit more than I should, just because it sounds great to me. But there, I think this is going to look rather gorgeous. Having said that, I have toddled off without taking out my liquid matte medium. Okay, now I've got all my bits, I'm sure. So let's start with the liquid matte medium. I'm going to actually paint the piece that I've cut out of the magazine instead of painting the background, because I don't want to put so much liquid matte medium onto the background that it becomes sticky, because that can happen. So let me do this and then put the coat on top of the butterfly. Did I go under here? No, I didn't. Silly me. There we go. That's the butterfly stuck down. Let's do the flower now. Images taken out of magazines are actually lovely because the photography is usually beautiful, and the paper is easy to manipulate. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the toadstools into the background. So what we need to do is paint these babies first. Not enough hands, not enough fingers on these hands. There we go. Let's put that there. That will just make the zinnia flower, which is this one, a little bit more noticeable. Oops, sorry about that noise, folks. It is rather a noisy container. Right, a little bit more glue. I'm not working quite fast enough, methinks. Never mind, we'll get there. Now I can actually just paint the background and get all the wobbly bits stuck down. There we go. Give our little shroomies a touch of liquid matte medium, and hopefully that will make them slightly less shiny than what they are. Otherwise I can just paint over them with a little bit of orange paint. It's the crayons, because I started with the markers and then I wanted to kind of blend a bit more than what the markers were offering me, so I moved on to the colouring in pencils, which of course are wax based, and put rather a lot on, so I had rather a lot to deal with, but that's okay. Here we go, we've got a couple of little edges there. Now what I'm going to do is I might as well, got the brush in my hand and the matte medium on the glass plate, so let's just give everything its coat. Then I know it's done, and I've got my base of, come on, you can let go now, thank you very much. I've got my non-porous base to play with. There we go. And the liquid matte medium, of course, also just takes the magazine gloss off the bits that come out. Okay, so while that is drying slightly, what I'm going to do is finish attaching this. And I'm going to use the liquid matte medium for this as well, because it's just easier and quicker. Now, this is quite amazing because I have done it before. I just have to lift the door up for a bit. There we go. It's not resting on the wet page, but it is out of my way. So what I'm doing here is I'm just tearing this off and laying it down in strips, believe it or not, and it will blend in with that background that I hand painted, and you'll hardly be able to tell that the pieces of the photograph are no longer, you know, that they've been separated from the main picture. It just quietly blends in. Nobody's any the wiser. I love matte media. I love mixed media. You can have such fun. There we go, we do that. And I just trim it off later on. Give you guys a coat. The last little piece can go there. And there we have it. You really will not be able to see what's happened. So now let's give this side a coat of the liquid matte medium. And there we have it. Looking good. And another short commercial break while everything dries. While everything was drying, I did a little bit more fiddling, as you can see, and I put some textured white spots on the toadstools. I'll stop calling them mushrooms now. And all we have left here basically, oh yes, I also added this little orange butterfly, the same sort of one as that. I found one in my stash, and I've trimmed the edge of the page. It's all looking very neat and tidy. So all that's left now on this side is to put down my little fairy and give her a couple of touch-ups, which won't take very long at all. And then we can go back to the first page and add the finishing touches to that as well. Now I will be back as soon as the paint is dry on her wings, the matte medium. I want to put on a little bit of the metallic yellow, which is what gave the dragonflies such lovely wings when I put it on the fridge magnet. Okay, let's do something about this door. I've got a little ink pad here. I don't have a doorbell yet, but this little sponge one seems to work quite nicely. Let me just lift this up. Oh, I don't have to fiddle with it now. I've got a handle, haven't I? Oops, except the door's closed. Okay, I'm just going to do this. I just want to put a little bit more edging on here. And if you do this with the little sponge daubers, you get less streaks and more under softness. I am very pleased with this digital download that I made myself though, because I think I'm definitely going to get more copies made. It does look rather cool as an old door, and I can even use it in a possibly an outdoor scene as a little bit of a screen at some time or other. Here we go. I think that looks much nicer now. Let's try and get that little thingy off there. And here we have it. I'm very proud of this door now. I made a little latch that comes over it. Just got to bend the page slightly to get it off. Come on, let me show it off. There we go. You see, what I did with the buttons on the door was I put them. I made a hole with my awl, and I just made one hole, and there are 4 holes in each button. So basically, what I did was I have been threading through the same hole in the door, but into the different holes on the buttons to create the crisscross, and then you won't be able to see it, but around, let me try, there's no harm in trying. If you look at the button here, you will see, I hope you can see it, underneath the button and on top of the door, I wound the cotton thread around and around and around to make a bit of a shaft for the button, which just means it stands away from the door a fair amount and makes it easier to put the little loop over. And what I did here was a piece of very thin crochet cotton, a length of that. I finger crocheted it, just made a chain, and then wrapped it round and round and round to create the little rosette in the door. The possibility exists that I will, you see, this is a little sticker that I bought. I rather loved it. I thought it would look so cool on the door because it's such a similar color. So there's a possibility that I might try and bronze this thread a little bit just to make it match. I think that would be very, very cool. Now, what's coming on here, all that's left for the front door are these. Which is the comments. And I decided to put 2 little flower pots, one on each side of the door. I cut out this and the foliage and everything from on the other page. I cut from some gardening magazines that I have. So this one will go here, like that. And this one is going to go on there, like that. And I think that will look rather lovely. So let's go ahead and do that. I've got liquid matte medium here on my glass plate, so might as well use it, hey? There we go. I'm going to paint it onto the to the little pot. So what we do is up here, it is the comment that I'm putting at the top, and then this one will go across the bottom. All I want to do with this one is, again, it's the ink. I think this is called Vintage Brown or something. It's not the usual fancy inks that you can get overseas. This is probably also from Temu. I don't know. I bought it in a local shop. But it works very well. And I do rather like the color. It's this kind of burnt sienna brown, which is one of my favorites. Me and my burnt orange, as you guys know. Or you must be starting to know already. But I do tend to like my autumn colors. There we go. So that one will go there. This one goes at the top. Anyway, there we have it. Let me turn it around to show you, because I think this is rather beautiful. Let's move this out of the way, shall we? It is a bit distracting. There we go. There's our door in our wall, and you can see the butterfly and a bit of the flower there through the window. Let's take this off. Oh, come on, come on, come on. There we go. So you would open the door, and this is what you will see. I think it's rather lovely. Close it again. And there we have it. All I have left to do is the putting the sparkle on the fairy's wings. This is not quite dry enough yet, so it does need to be left to dry. Excuse me, cold with a cough coming up. But there, that's what the second page looks like. And I do think it's rather beautiful. At the moment, the fairy's looking a little bit faint because she's still a bit damp with the matte medium. But once she dries, she'll brighten up again. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm going to be back. I'm not going to close off the video just yet. I want this to dry properly. I want to paint her wings and do any little touch-ups that I might notice, and then we'll have the final viewing. So see you in a seckie. There we go. This project is now completed. We have page 1 with a latch door. Let me see if I can open it without taking it away. A little bit awkward in the hands here. There we go. Pull the door open. And what do we have inside? So when life closes one door, it always opens another. And here we have a nice magical mystery tour on the go. I'm going to bring her a little bit closer so you can see her properly. Don't know if the light will catch her wings. There we go. I've pearlized her wings. So there we have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed watching. And as usual, please will you like my video if it appealed to you. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and give me some comments. Please give me comments. I always love comments. It's what makes life so much better. Here we go, the final look, coming through the door into Magic Land. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you again really soon.